Some parents have heard stories about people who were accelerated and then went on to regret rushing through their childhoods or who felt like they were missing out in their teen years. Maybe you yourself skipped a grade and have some of those feelings, and you're now trying to think through an accelerated path for one of your children. At the same time, there's a good body of research that shows that acceleration in any of its many forms often benefits gifted children academically, socially, and emotionally. As a parent, it can be frustrating or confusing to make educational decisions for your child when anecdotal evidence and the findings from research don't match up. With factors that are less predictable, like social changes and puberty, how do you know if acceleration is going to be the right choice? While no parenting is easy, parenting a profoundly gifted teen is not for the faint of heart. It's normal to be of two minds in this situation, knowing how things turned out for you in a similar situation, and at the same time, listening to your young scholar and helping them to make informed choices for their own life. In this excerpt from our Parent Consulting Circle, a virtual Q&A event with our parents, our family services team member offers her thoughts about this sometimes difficult to tackle topic. Stay tuned after the video for more information on the benefits of the Young Scholars Program and how you can directly access features like these virtual events.
The most important person in this conversation is the child, right? I have talked, because the apple doesn't always fall far from the tree, I have talked to multiple parents who are accelerated themselves. And many of them were against acceleration when it happened for them. And then it wasn't a rewarding experience. I do think it's really important that the child is on board. And again, some especially our young kids need help with understanding what this is going to look like. So it's okay to do if your kid is like, I'm not sure about how this is going to work out, to do a trial or shadow a couple of days or something like that to see how they feel. I think choice is so important. And again, like, not that everything comes down to what your child wants. And it's your job as a parent to kind of help open their eyes to the possibilities and give them a lot of information and knowledge. And I think it's also important to think about, how you're, like if you accelerate your child, some of our families have accelerated 3 or 4 years by the time their child goes off to college or takes the next step in life. It's important to think about how are you going to handle things farther down the line. So for example, because there are different ways of doing this. We often think of gap years as happening after high school or after college. But for example, one of the families that accelerated their child in elementary school, they did a 1-year grade skipped and then further subject acceleration. I don't know if this was like all pre-planned. Likely had some inkling, but not this exact plan. They their child took a gap year in the year after their 8th grade year, which was chronologically their 7th grade year. The parent, one of the parents had an opportunity to work overseas for a contract for a limited period. And so their child wasn't in school that year and did a bunch of traveling with the whole family, but mostly the other parent and their siblings. And they traveled a lot. They got a lot of time to read. They worked on their language skills and stuff like that. And then went chronologically age-wise back into high school when they got back with their age peers. They were still very advanced in math and ended up dual enrolling pretty early on in high school, but mostly together. So there are things that you can do differently along the way if you decide at some point, like, hey, we want to get back on the kind of age peer timeline. And I would say, like, again, it's going to work differently for everybody. So I did have another young scholar that graduated high school 3 years early and worked professionally for 3 years before going to college, so that they had that age connection when they went off to college. And they turned an internship that they got into a paid job and then into another paid job. And so that's how they bridged that gap for them. So there are ways to navigate that. But it is important to think about your values as a family and how that might work out. And of course, like, it would be great if we could predict exactly when a person's going to go through puberty, down to the, like, what month will they be in school when this all, like, hits their growth spurt or something. And I'm sure there's some medical professionals that could probably give you a good idea. But, we don't know when, and we don't know socially when things are going to necessarily change every time. I mean, of course, the going to middle school and then going to high school, there are big social changes during those times. But it also comes down to the specific cohort and things like that. So I hope that gives you some thoughts. Again, going back to what the second parent contributed, and other conversations I have with other parents, like, yeah, it is important that the child gets on board, and they can't possibly know every decision that's going to come after this, but there are ways to take on and off ramps along the way.
Not done learning? Check out some of the acceleration success stories that we have on our Davidson Gifted blog, linked below. Thank you for watching. The Davidson Young Scholars Program provides our members with opportunities to connect, engage, and access a range of family services to support them on their profoundly gifted or twice exceptional path. Want to learn more? We host application Q&As for families to learn more about our program, testing requirements, and the application. Visit our website, davidsongifted.org, and find the next available Q&A on upcoming events. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.